Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Rochester, New York. To open the show, we had the TNT Championship Street Fight. Uh, Wardlow looks to finally capture gold in AEW. He should have already had it. He was screwed out of it the first time he challenged. Tonight should be a little different, but Scorpio Sky has a lot of American Top Team with him. Although none of them look like the main players of ATT, they kind of look like some, I hate to say it, the no-name guys. And of course, rest in peace, Brody Lee, the greatest TNT champion ever. We are in his hometown tonight. Wardlow starts out strong and tries to take out Sky early, but Sky hits a low blow, only to be tossed around the ring right afterwards. They go to the outside, and the ATT jumps Wardlow, and that just seems to be the plan for Sky here. As they keep giving him help, and up on the top rope now, Wardlow shoves Sky off and hits a big senton. Wardlow sets up for the powerbomb, but ATT runs in the ring, and Wardlow tosses every single one of them around. But Dan starts yelling on the apron, and Wardlow smashes everyone around. He gets smashed with the TNT title. They keep going back and forth. Dan's yelling on the apron. Sky goes for the TKO, but Wardlow shoves him off and knocks Lambert off of the apron. Sets up for the powerbomb. He hits 1, 2, 3, and he gets the win. We have a new TNT champion. It is Wardlow. I can't wait to see what his custom title looks like. From the pictures, it looks like he is going to carry the standard kind of black and red one. And then my standout performer for this match goes to Scorpio Sky. He took an absolute beating and also gave Wardlow probably one of the better beatings he has had. Moxley says people will always bet against him and hope one day someone will beat him badly. He thinks they all think that tonight will be tonight, and he knows exactly who he's dealing with. He is a bigger monster than Brody King. He won this title and then went in and had fun at Blood and Guts, and he knows exactly who Brody King is. He did his homework, but tonight he will find out how big Brody's heart is. He says, anytime you step in the ring with Blackpool Combat Club, they always push people to their limits. My WTR scale, I gave that a great. Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese try to get Swerve Strickland removed from the AEW roster by getting some signatures gathered up. They try to get Keith Lee's, but he says that even though Swerve and him have their differences, they are still winning, unlike Mark and Tony. So he's good. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. It was pretty funny. Cage and Luchasaurus get in the ring, and they talk about how everyone is asking why Luchasaurus joined Cage. Matt Hardy comes up before Cage can really say anything, calls him the Michael Jordan of being an asshole, and says Jungle Boy is his friend, and Cage screwed him. Says his last month has been a mess. Cage has been taking shots at his brother Jeff here, calls Matt a clout chaser, and he even ignores his brother's issues to get one last ride. Matt says he just wanted, and then says Matt just wanted some of Cage's spotlight. Matt then tries to fight them both off as they kind of jumped him, and Luchasaurus drops Matt with a big headbutt. He then keeps up the pressure, and drives him into the steps and hits a big boot in with Matt's head pressed against the ring post. He then puts Matt through the timekeeper's table, and Cage taunts Matt. From a WTR scale, I gave that a great. Hager and Claudio talk about, and they have agreed to no contact for tonight. Hager says Claudio has never been a champion anywhere in ROH, in WWE. Hager says he's undefeated in MMA and is a former world champion, and he wants the respect he deserves. Claudio says that he may not have a world title, but people who ask for respect don't deserve it. He's undefeated in AEW, and next week he will go 3-0. From a WTR scale, I gave that a great. I cannot wait to see that match. The Butcher and the Blade take on Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Lee starts out by tossing everyone around the ring, and Butcher tries to bring in a chair, but Blade reminds him that this is a top five tag team match. Swerve kind of takes control, and he and Lee double team the Blade. They spill to the outside, and the bunny causes the distraction, letting the Butcher and the Blade take over. Swerve eventually is able to fight to a tag after getting absolutely pummeled, and Lee comes in and takes out both men. They go for a double team, but the Butcher stops them, and they take him out. Lee tries to plow Blade, but he pulls Swerve into the path, and they take out Lee. They double team Swerve, and it looks like they're going to win, but Lee makes the save, and he helps Swerve up. They hit Swerve in their glory, I believe is what they called it. And after the match, they get the win there. And after the match, Hobbs and Starks come out, and they say they're not done. You know, they call themselves the best tag team in AEW. And then the real best tag team, well, one of the real best tag teams in AEW comes out, the Young Bucks. They say that the tag team division is strong, and that's because they laid the groundwork. And they suggest a 6-0 three-way tag team match for the titles next week. And I can't wait for that. For my WTR scale, I gave it a great. My stand-up performer for the match goes to Keith Lee. He absolutely killed it. The House of Black says they have not had the luxuries Moxley has. Says he thinks he knows violence well. Tonight, the House of Black is going to show him true pain. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. And then Eddie Kingston comes out, and he looks pissed off. He's also looking in pain. He first congratulates Wardlow and everyone from the Blood and Guts team. He then says Jericho made him a liar. He didn't get to taste Jericho's blood and make him bleed. Jericho appears on the screen and says he will show him what he will do if Kingston tries anything. Ty Conti slams Ruby's hands into the door of an SUV, and I guess that's writing Ruby off for a little bit. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. The Dark Order comes out, and as much as they're small in numbers, this is Dark Order country. They have something important to tell them. It says that 6 of them are here to stay, and they have an important thing to say, and hence the mic to -1. QT Marshall comes out and says, how long is this going to last? He's not his father. He just basically takes jabs at -1. He wants a one-on-one match with -1, and Hangman Adam Page comes out to take no shits. He and Uno dump QT into the ring, and he gets dominated by the Dark Order, and -1 says that he can't wait to pin QT when he turns 19. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. Penta Oscuro takes on Rush, and this is Rush's first singles match in AEW, and he has a big challenge in Penta Oscuro. They go back and forth like crazy, and Penta immediately starts to have issues with his mask. They go all out. Alex and Jose end up brawling because Jose tried to get involved, and Andrade and Phoenix are the ones left at ringside. Penta is getting beaten down, but he finally shows some life, hitting a big backstabber only to get a near fall. They chop back and forth once again, and Rush hits a big knee and takes control from there. He goes to the top once again, hitting a big backdrop for a near fall, and Penta hits a big cutter and hits the Fear Factor piledriver, but Andrade gets the foot on the ropes, or puts the foot on the ropes for Rush, and Rush then pulls off the mask as Phoenix tries to stop Andrade. He rolls up Penta and gets the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great, and my stand-up performer for that goes to Rush. He absolutely performed beautifully in that match. Penta did too, but he stood out in my opinion. Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh talk about finally getting Jay his match. They say they'll not take him lightly, but they will take his title. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. And Smart Mark Sterling then says he just needs Orange to sign, and he says he doesn't sign or read anything without his lawyer, and that's apparently Danhausen, who immediately comes in, and he comes up with a great idea for Rampage. Orange Cassidy versus Tony Nese. That sounds like a pretty good match to me. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. Austin Gunn, and he ruins the Gun Club's and the Acclaim's entrance. It's because they've just been arguing as of late. They are going on up against Roughing It and Fuego del Sol in a 8-man tag match. This match was kind of announced on Dynamite, so there isn't a graphic for it. Bronson takes control right away, and they immediately double team Caster, and then they eventually are able to overpower Bronson. They double team him, but Austin tags himself in and steals the pin from Caster after he drops the mic. That gets the win, and the Acclaimed get right in their face after the match, and the Guns beat down the Acclaimed. Billy Gunn then pulls them apart and tells them to get it together and takes out Caster and then Bowens and realigns himself with his boys. For my WTR scale, I gave it a good, and for my stand-up performer, I gave it to Anthony Bowens. I'm glad to see him back in the ring. Miro talks about Malachi Black, and he wants to destroy the House of Black. He says the Redeemer is coming enraged. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. Thunder Rosa, or Thunderstorm with, Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm take on Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir. They have had issues with the champ and the number 1 contender as of late, and they look to deal with that. They go back and forth right at the start. Toni ends up taking control, and Rosa and Toni double team Shafir. Rosa eventually comes in, and they keep the pressure on, and Toni eventually switches out, and Nyla smashes Toni with the umbrella as the ref was distracted. They are able to beat Toni down in their corner, double teaming Toni, and Nyla slams her down for a near fall. Nyla keeps wearing down Toni, and she locks in a sleeper, but is able to crawl to a tag to Rosa. Eventually, Rosa is dropped on her head, and Toni comes in to make the save, and Toni hits the hip attack, and then they double team Fire Thunder Driver Shafir for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. It was a very good match to watch, and for my stand-up performer of the match, it goes to Toni Storm. She always stands out in my opinion. Jade yells at Stokely Hathaway and says he says that he hired an interim baddie and he paid her $1,100 to do it. Jade says if she doesn't deliver, it's his ass. For my WTR scale, I gave that a meh. Garcia talks about the pure wrestling champion Wheeler Yuta and tells Yuta he has nothing on him, and at Death Before Dishonor to give him a shot at the title so he can take it. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. FTR talks about winning the ROH titles and how important it was to them, and at Death Before Dishonor, they want to run it back with the Briscoes in a rematch to see who is the better one once and for all. From WTR scale, I gave that a good. And we finally get our main event of the evening. Jon Moxley defending his interim AEW World Championship against Brody King. Brody powers Moxley into the corner and then chops him down. He is just overpowering Moxley. Brody dumps Moxley onto the ramp and sends Moxley flying back into the ring. Moxley uses whatever he can, tripping Brody and locking in a figure 4. He uses his wrestling background to start targeting Brody's knee, but Brody answers with the Bossman Slam for a near fall. Brody then gets back outside and tosses Moxley around, bringing it back in the ring now. Brody keeps the pressure on, and it looks like he may end it at any point. Moxley finally shows some life, and he hits a dragon suplex for a near fall and then stomps on Brody. Brody answers with a big lariat and a powerbomb for a near fall, which he looks to finish it after that as he dives on Moxley and gets another near fall. Moxley explodes out and looks to end it. He hits a big DDT and then locks in the Bulldog Choke for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. And my stand-up performer, I'm actually giving it to Brody King. He really did impress in that match for the World Championship, and he probably will have a world title reign in his future, if not some form of singles title. But that was all for Dynamite. For my overall, I gave it a great. The segment of the night goes to the Bucks 3-way title challenge, and the match of the night goes to main event, and the performer of the night goes to Brody King. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I will see you in the next one.